What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Junkies. I'm your host, Farhan, here again with my man Vito. And we're coming to you with a A24 movie that I'm a little surprised is starring the person that is starring, and that is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who, if you've seen him recently in his career, you've seen the San Andreases, the Jumanjis, all those of the world, and he's kind of developed a career, at least, recently, of a lot of high budget action blockbusters where he's essentially just playing The Rock over and over again. But for people like me and Vito who've seen things like Snitch, which are a little bit deeper into The Rock's catalog, you understand how good of a dramatic actor he can be. And it's good to see
Oh,
him get to those roots.
bro, how did I forget The Rundown?
What'd you forget?
The Rundown. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Sean William Scott, Christopher Walken. You don't remember
Oh,
this? Yo.
The Rundown. Put me hit. Put
Oh
me hit.
my
Put me hit.
God.
Put me
So
hit. Put me hit.
so The Rock plays this he plays a debt collector. All right.
Mhm.
So guy working for a loan shark. And
Mhm.
the guy that he works for has a son who's Sean William Scott. And he's like, I need you to bring my son home. You know what? I can't remember if it's his son or if it's just a nigga that owes him a lot of money. So I
Mhm.
think it's his son. I want to say it's been years since I've seen this. And he goes down to some South American country to get him back, and antics ensue. It is a action movie, but it's Sean William Scott, so it's a little funny. Christopher Walken, who's fucking hilarious. Dog, I can't. I'm not gonna do it justice because it's been so long since I've seen this. But like I said, The Rundown, Walking Tall, Snitch, and a movie that's kind of different from what you would. Which if you seen this movie back then, Be Cool. It's nothing like The Rock now. There's a scene in Be Cool where this nigga says some shit like, I can't remember if he did it or if he said it, but he's like, I can make I can stick a piece of chicken in my mouth and make it and only the bone come out.
Okay.
So he say that shit again. I forget what year this come out, but you look at the shit like, yo, hey, yo, nigga, what?
Hey, man. First of all, pause. First
Hey,
of all.
but he has like this big ass fro. So like I said, and Be Cool, John Travolta's in there. It's a,
Mhm.
sequel to Get Shorty. So it's a
Okay.
comedy,
Oh,
but
I didn't
John
know that.
Travolta, Andre 3000, Cedric the Entertainer, The Rock, there's a bunch of other motherfuckers in there. But like you said, man, we see The Rock in these roles now in the past 10 years, I say, where he plays kind of like
The Rock.
he
That's what
plays
he
The Rock,
plays.
but
He's playing The Rock.
I'm pretty sure we've said this on other podcasts before that he only plays The Rock, but I feel like he tried to do what Arnold did, Sylvester did, Dolph Lundgren did back in the fucking late 70s, 80s, and 90s, where that's all they did. You wasn't seeing fucking even Rocky, dude. Like it was a kind of more serious movie, but it's the same role. Big guy does some shit, wins. Like that's all they shit was. So that's why I love the Expendables, dog, because it's just a fucking it's the Expendables, bro. Like it's not supposed to be a good movie. It's supposed to have the nostalgia of those movies in the 80s, 90s, and late 70s. And I'm waiting for the Expendables 5. I think they haven't done 5 when they add The Rock because
You think he's in that category now
he
at this
gotta
point?
be. He has to
Yeah.
be, bro. The number of people that they had in those movies, bro, out of all of them, they had fucking Randy Couture. What the fuck was he? He don't act in shit.
It was a lot of randoms,
Yeah,
but
so how
it's
do
a
you
lot of
not have
randoms.
The Rock who plays Hobbs in Fast and Furious series?
The Rock has developed a really solid, like, action movie catalog at this point, or just adventure
Yeah.
movie catalog. Like I said, the Jumanjis of the world, the San Andreases of the world, the movie about the fucking tower, I can't remember the name of it right now.
I want to say it
Um,
was called Tower.
but I was about to say, y'all know what movie I'm talking about if you've seen it. But I mean, it's like we've seen The Rock, like you said, kind of just play The Rock over and over again in recent years. So when this trailer first came out, I remember a lot of film fans were hyped, like, oh shit, The Rock is doing a serious dramatic role now. It's an A24 movie. People were calling for him to get an Oscar nomination already without even seeing the shit.
Yeah.
Like that's how much hype it was generating. So, when we saw what was coming out, I was like, let's just finally see if we really got that classic dramatic Rock performance in some of the other films you named outside of, the more recent action blockbusters. And Um,
Y y
I'll say I'll say the performance, yes, we got the performance. The
you know
Rock's
what's fu
performance in this was really good.
you know what's fucked up about that though?
What?
A24 doesn't usually have great, like, promotional things though. They usually because they do horror movies mostly, right?
They do a lot of anything, honestly. They do mostly just indie, lower budget,
Okay.
art house
I
type films. It doesn't just have to be horror movies,
okay.
like Civil War is a A24
It
movie.
was.
You know what I'm saying? You
So,
got I was about
but
to say The Witch, but that's a horror movie, but
the
you
the
you get the idea.
the point I'm trying to make is they don't get a lot of promotion. So, me and you both said like, "Hey, let's watch this movie."
Mhm.
Whenever we first seen the trailer, like, "Yo, this is probably gonna be good." Just looking at the trailer, like, the trailer made this shit look dope as fuck, dog.
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie and you like, "Alright, this kinda,
Yeah, because it's kinda like, so essentially the story follows Mark Kerr, who's one of the pioneers of UFC and MMA, takes place from 97 to 2000. The film sets that up at the very beginning, the years it takes place, and essentially kinda just follows Mark's life. I feel like if you're someone who's like a UFC historian or someone who's really into MMA and understands the sport and just casually watches it, this film's gonna have a lot for you to resonate and connect with. But if you're someone like me who just I watch UFC very casually, I might watch a fight here or there, but you're not just gonna catch me consistently
right."
watching it, and I damn sure don't have the context of the history of the sport and how we got here. So there was a lot of things in this movie that I was just kind of waiting to get hooked by, and it didn't really do that. The best thing I compare it to is like
That's actually
F1, whereas and I give less of a fuck about
yeah,
racing than I do
yeah.
about UFC. I actually have watched UFC at some point in my life. I have never sat down and watched any form of F1 or NASCAR ever.
Meow.
Never in my life have I done that. And F1 made me give a fuck about racing, and I
F1 made
don't
me
watch
wanna watch
racing.
F1 made me
Yes.
wanna watch some racing.
Yes, and I don't care about that sport at all. And this movie that's about a sport that I'm not deeply passionate about, but a sport that I have watched
Yeah.
before, and I'm not really resonating with it. I think just says a lot about the ability of one film to craft a story around the sport versus another. And this movie centers around like the early days of UFC. You know what I'm saying? It's not mainstream yet. It's not as regulated at all. They're able to get
At
away with a
all.
lot of things that you
It
for
was it
sure
was a
can't get
lot of
away with
niggas
today.
getting hit in the back of the head too. It's
Yes,
like,
like,
yo,
and I kinda wanna get to that because there was a point in the movie where they establish, because this film takes place, um, partly in North America and then also partly in Japan as
Imma say
well.
mostly in Japan.
Mostly in Japan, actually, because there's a few fights in the actual UFC that Mark has, and then there's another league in Japan, I think it's called Prime, if I'm
Pride.
not mistaken. Pride.
But it's Pride with a Y.
Yeah, but you're right, Pride, and then
I'm
they
sorry, I think it was Pride 7.
Yes, yes, you're right. And most of the fights in the movie take place in that league. So a big portion of the movie takes place in Japan. And there's a scene where they're establishing the rules and things that are no longer legal. And they
Very clear.
literally demonstrate this move that is illegal of kneeing somebody in the back of the
They
head.
they made all the fighters come to this shit, and then they looked at the referees and said, just go out there."
Yeah, like, it literally they established and this is before I don't think we
No.
see a fight in Japan on screen prior to
Mm-mm.
this rule being established. So they established this rule, and then damn near every fight you see in Japan after that involving Mark Kerr's character, somebody getting hit in the back of the head, and the ref's just like,
Knee, punch, ref just
yeah, and
walking.
the ref's just looking at it, like, just not giving a fuck. There's even a scene where and I don't wanna get too deep into spoilers, there's a scene where it happens, and Mark is just kinda like, is that not a foul? That's not a DQ. Like, what are we doing? And that's kind of what kind of drove me crazy with it is they address it every time it happens.
Right.
Like they address like, oh, this move happened. That's illegal. The character addresses it. The announcers will address it. Everyone except the referee will acknowledge that it happened. So that was just like one like thing that kind of irritated me about the movie. It's not like a major plot point, but it was just something that kept consistently happening, and I wasn't understanding if you're going to establish this in the film as like something that is no longer legal and no longer established. And I get it's based on a true story, so maybe in real life that's what the rest are on, but I don't know. That just felt very odd to me. But like I said, if you are a UFC person, this movie's gonna be for you. I just think this movie didn't do a good job of getting across the point it was trying to get across.
I
It
don't even think that if you're a UFC fan that it's it I I don't know if you said this already, but it's not a bad movie.
It's not. It's not a
That's
bad
not a
movie.
good movie.
It just doesn't flow
Um,
well. It doesn't flow well.
it doesn't tell a cohesive story. If you're a UFC fan, there are going to be a lot of things. I mean, the fights itself,
Yeah.
were entertaining. Fights were very entertaining. Whoever choreographed it did a good job. But also, the fights only really last about. I mean, I don't know if they. I don't even think they did rounds in this movie. It was one round. That's the fight, and you're done. And so, no more than a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Mhm.
There is some history in here. It's not a lot.
They
There
don't give
are
you that much, honestly.
UFC fighters that play actors in here, or they play characters in here. I know Alexander, I forget his last name. I know he is a UFC fighter. I've seen his name before a few
Yeah,
times.
him and Ryan Bader, who plays
Mhm.
Mark Coleman, which is Mark Coleman is Mark Kerr, which is Dwayne White Johnson's character, Mark Kerr.
Mhm.
They're best friends in real life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of portrayed in this as well. And I gotta give Ryan Bader credit for someone who was not an actor.
Yeah.
He actually did a really good job in this for someone who's not
I
who
think
doesn't
he
have a
did a
career in
good
acting.
job. And you know what? I'm gonna jump around for a bit because I think we both said I think with what we got from The Rock, I thought it was decent. I thought the acting was decent. I
I
think
think this is one of his better performances in his career. I think you can say
what
that.
they shouldn't have put in was him crying at any moment. At
I
any
mean,
moment. Because every time this nigga went to go cry, like, because the
no,
nigga,
that was his go-to move for sure every time.
like, he
If some
covers his
fucked up shit
head
happened
up.
in life, them hands was going over them eyes. It was
Because
happening.
I don't know if that's if Mark Kerr really did, or if it's just The Rock can't fucking show that emotion on screen, so they told the
Yeah,
nigga to cover his face.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but I thought that's probably the only thing of his acting in this movie that I was like, hey, what the fuck is happening here, dog? Like, what's going
Like,
on?
what are we doing,
I mean,
bro?
of course you got Emily Blunt, who
We'll
is
get to her. I have a lot of thoughts on her character.
you did not her character, her acting.
Her acting was
Her
great.
acting, yeah.
Emily Blunt, yeah, I don't even feel the need. Certain people, I don't even feel the need to like overemphasize how good their performance was.
Okay.
Granted, we haven't mentioned it yet, but like for me, if I come into a movie and say like Leonardo DiCaprio gave a good performance, it's like, yeah, that will hold some weight, but it's Leonardo DiCaprio. You were
You
expecting
know
that.
what though?
And I'm not saying Emily Blunt's Leonardo DiCaprio, but Emily Blunt is one of the better actors we have in this generation.
You know why we have to say it now though?
Why?
Highest to lowest.
I mean, even in highest to lowest, though, Denzel's performance was not the problem. Jeffrey Wright's performance was not the problem.
I'm
Their
gonna have to
performances were not the problem
I'm
with
gonna have
that
to beg
movie.
to differ on that shit. I think everybody in that shit was terrible. I
I'm
thought
not gonna argue. Look,
I
I'm
thought
not about to sit highest to
everybody acted.
lowest. I'm not about to sit on the highest to lowest hill and defend it. I'm gonna just say them two weren't the problem.
You think his acting was up to par to other movies he's done?
No, not to other movies he's done, but
And
it was a
that's what I
solid
mean.
performance.
See, it's a solid performance because it's Denzel Washington. You
Yeah,
looking at it with the rose-colored lens, baby. No,
yeah.
that shit was very subpar. You
Yeah,
don't
but no, it wasn't Training Day. It wasn't Man
that
on Fire. It
that
wasn't
nigga
Inside Man. It
that
wasn't
nigga usually
Fences.
at a 9.5, 10, and
Yeah,
fucking highest to lowest was at like a 4.
yeah.
Anyway, let me
Yeah, we didn't because highest to lowest wasn't even supposed to be a part of this dynamic. First of all,
bro,
I've
it was
noticed you go out of your way to shoot strays at that movie over and over again.
bro,
I've noticed that about
these
you.
aren't strays. I'm aiming at that motherfucker because
Yeah,
I just can't believe how terrible that shit was.
yeah,
I'm so
I've peeped
disappointed.
this.
I'm so
No,
disappointed.
I feel you.
And
I understand.
until we see another terrible movie that like with great actors in it, I'm gonna bring that shit up because why did I pay fucking full price to go see that shit? I should have went on fucking Tuesday and paid my $5 to go see it, or better yet, I should have waited till they put that shit on Apple TV to watch it.
And called it a day.
And I still would have been mad because I could have been watching Murder Bot. I could have been watching Ted Lasso. I could have been watching Foundry. I could have been watching so many better things than fucking Highest to Lowest.
Yeah, just in case y'all didn't notice, Vito gives Highest to Lowest a 9 out of 10. One of his favorite movies. When we do our top 5 best movies of the year at the end of the year, he gonna put Highest to Lowest number 1. I put a parlay bet in on it.
It was just so bad. I'm sorry, dog. Somebody, and you know what, dude? You know what's fucked up? Somebody brought it up earlier last week, and I just like red.
Yeah,
Right.
your blood started boiling.
Yeah, because they talking about how bad it is. I'm like, no, you don't know how fucking bad it is. You seen it on Apple TV, nigga. I went to the
I
movies
paid
to
money
see
to go
this.
see that shit.
I'm in the
I had to
theater,
drive to a theater.
nigga.
This nigga, bro. You funny as
I
hell.
had to pay for parking. Come on.
But man, I don't even know where the fuck I was with Smashing Machine.
We were talking
But no,
about Emily
Emily
Blunt,
Blunt.
but we
But no,
was going.
Emily,
I jumped ahead for her
but
though.
no, I'll stick with Emily Blunt for a little minute. Because I think she's part of the trifecta of things that this movie wants to be about, but the story doesn't really flow with it. This movie
Yeah,
takes turns being about different things within Mark's life. It's about his drug addiction. Then it's about his relationship with Emily Blunt's character, Dawn Staples, and their toxic dynamic that they have going on. And then it's about his obsession with winning and how that overtakes his self-worth and the value he places on himself if he doesn't win. Like there's even a scene where he
yeah.
gets interviewed in this movie.
Yeah,
And
dog.
he's undefeated at this
Hey,
point.
soon
He's
as I
undefeated at
seen
this
that,
point.
I said, "This nigga about to lose.
He about to lose.
This
I saw
nigga's
that shit
about to
immediately,
lose."
bro. So this is, to your point. He goes to Pride. He gets invited to Pride.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me stop. Before you go into him and his losing. I want to bring up this the story thing where you said what's the story, and when we watch Heist or not Heist Law, see, because on my head again.
Yeah,
When
you ain't getting that movie out your
we
head.
watched one battle after another.
Mm-hmm.
I said this would be great as a miniseries. I know I said something before that this would be a good docu-series, but I think what it feels like this movie was, it feels like this movie was a TV show. And then there's like, we can't find anybody to pick up these seasons. So we gonna scrape the movie and we gonna push this
Put it
whole
together.
season together. And because that's what, like I said, the first maybe
The
that
first
intro
act, yeah, the
that
first act
intro
was really about his drug addiction.
that intro fight and then the drug addiction,
Mm-hmm.
him going to Japan and fighting, and
Then the
that's
relationship,
still in a drug thing, but
yeah,
then him coming back and then having to go to rehab. They don't even
yeah.
talk about his stint in rehab, and it
Yeah,
was only 21 days.
when they introduced the drug addiction, I thought that's what the movie was about to be about. Okay, so this is him battling his drug addiction while also being one of the pioneers of UFC. Okay,
Mhm.
that's a story that probably has some compelling parts to it, some dramatic weight. And then like midway through the second act, they're like, yeah, he's out of rehab. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's like more movie after
The
this. So
nigga was in dog. The nigga was in
where is this
rehab for
going?
like 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, what? I'm pretty sure there's like the rest of the movie still to go. I don't think this shit's about to end. So like, where are
Dog.
we going with this? And it kind of jumps between those three story arcs of the obsession to win, his drug addiction, and then Emily Blunt. And then but I ain't gonna lie, that interview, bro, they telegraphed that shit so much when he was about to go to Pride. So he
Hey,
gets
what do you
invited to
ask him?
Pride.
What do you ask him?
He gets invited to Pride, and they're the Japanese reporters. They're interviewing all the different the UFC talent that's there, and they talk to Mark Kerr, and they're like, you're undefeated, you never lost a fight, and they're like, what? He's like, have you thought about how you would react or how you would respond if you were to lose?
Which
And
one is a
first,
crazy ass question to ask
crazy question
anybody, dog?
to ask anybody, but especially someone who's undefeated, like any,
And about to go into a fight. I see if the
yeah,
nigga had just won the fight. This nigga
yeah.
ain't even fought yet. That shouldn't.
Yeah, that was a wild question. I agree, but we're here. It was asked. The Rock first, Mark Kerr just kind of brushes it off. Like, I mean, I haven't lost, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know what that feels like.
Nigga
And the
asked
reporter
again.
asked again. He's like, I understand, but let's
No,
just
nigga, I
say
want to
you
know.
were to. Let's just say you were to lose.
Hey, that nigga had money
How
on the
would you
fight.
react? No, I swear he must have had a bet in. And The Rock goes, I mean, I don't really know what you want me to say. I genuinely don't know what that feeling is like. I can't articulate that feeling. I can't imagine or begin to fathom what the feeling of losing is like because I've never done it. And literally the next scene during the fight, well, technically he doesn't. He loses, and
He
then
loses
some other
initially.
stuff happens, but it wasn't technically a loss. So I'm not going to get too deep into it for spoiler reasons. But it was like for that interview to happen at the point of the movie it did, I was like,
Yeah.
he not winning his next fight.
And it's still early in the movie.
Yes, we're like maybe at the beginning of the second act at this point. This movie's not that deep into the story yet, or whatever you want to
At all.
call it. Yeah, I'm about to say the story is a little wishy washy, but
And
we're not that deep into the narrative at this point. And he's getting asked these questions, and I immediately knew, to your point, I'm like, this motherfucker about to lose, bro. This motherfucker,
Um,
he's not coming out with a dub after this next fight for sure.
you know what? And I'm getting off track. Um, there is a TV show that The Rock did where he was a serious role, but he still played The Rock.
Was it Ballers?
It was Ballers.
Ballers,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ballers was
I had a feeling.
Ballers was fucking fire, dog.
I've seen a couple episodes, but I haven't watched it.
I watched the whole thing. I think it's only 3 seasons, and that I
That's
take
one of
I
the ones. I'll
that
add that
it's
to the list.
those ones, dog. But
Let's add to the list.
back to nah, dog. That was insane, bro.
That
The
was
nigga,
nuts.
like I, you had to have money on this because you asked the question. He said basically said, I don't know. You said, oh, I have to ask again for the fans.
Like,
So
no, first of all, no, you don't. First
because
of
again,
all.
it's a crazy ass question. So then throughout the movie I'm watching, and the reporter comes back a few times and he's talking to
Mhm,
other people.
mhm.
And when they like, nah, I'm not answering that, or I don't know.
Hey, guess
He
what he
like,
does?
okay.
Moves the fuck on. I'm like,
He
oh,
like,
you're a hoe.
okay.
I see what you
That
want.
nigga definitely had money on the fucking fight,
He
dog.
put a slip in against Mark Kerr, and he was like, "This shit's gonna hit come hell or
Nigga.
high water. This shit is gonna
Nigga.
hit." Nah, I respect it because I probably would have did the same shit if I was him.
Nigga, I would have threw a fucking break at that nigga before he went in the ring.
Said that nigga would have walked into
I
that bitch
need
with an injury, huh?
I need to get paid, nigga.
This some sick shit, y'all. This some sick shit. But
Hey, I didn't make gambling, internet gambling legal here.
you know what? You're right. You're right. You know what? You're right. We always got to go to the source first. We always got to go to the source first. But I think with this, bro, it's hard to really talk about the flow of this film story because it
What
doesn't really
flow?
have one. It really kind of jumps all over the place. So like we said, it focuses on his drug addiction with opioids for a minute. Because obviously, you know, he's a UFC fighter. He's taking things to, you know, manage the pain, and he needed something stronger, so that's his outlet. I feel like that period or area is where the film is the strongest, especially The Rock's performance. There's a scene of him in a hospital room that I think is one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion.
With his fake
Like,
cry?
yeah,
Or his cry?
is his that cry felt probably the realest out of
I
all the ones he did in the movie.
outside of his cry, it was a good scene. But it's
That was one of the best scenes of the film, in my
the thing
opinion.
that got me about it was he's telling a story of how he got injured. Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
OD'd. He's
Yeah.
telling a story of how he got injured, and his best friend Mark Coleman is there. He's like, yeah. Like he's telling a story. He's
Like,
like,
I know you bullshitting, bro.
Yeah. Then he tells you like, dog, stop, bro.
Like, stop, bro. Like, it's me. He literally like, bro, it's me. Stop. Like, stop.
Yeah.
You're not in front of no cameras right now. Like, stop, bro. It's me. Like, I know what happened.
Dog, dog, I just again, bro, I don't know what it is with the movies this year. We've had some very good movies. We had some very good movies. We've
I feel
had
like
some,
this has been a much better year than 2024. I'll say that. I mean,
I don't even remember. And it's not that 2024 wasn't a good year. I just don't remember, dog.
that's my point.
This year just feels so fucking long, bro.
That's
I feel like it's been fucking 3 years. This just, and we ain't even done with the year yet.
Touche. You got me there.
But no, we've had some very disappointing movies, I think, this year.
Yeah,
like,
movies that had a lot of hype that didn't live
like,
up to it. This is one of them for me.
Like when they're like, okay, he should be in an Oscar running. You know, he had a good performance. I don't want to say he had a great performance. He had a good performance. I think he could do better. Because again, the dialogue wasn't always there. It was there most of the time, but it was lacking sometimes. But the lack of a story.
That's really what held this movie back.
You can't have a good character without a good story. Or I'm sorry, without a story at all. Because even a bad story, you can have a good character.
I think you can have good characters in a story that's lacking. Because I think this film had that. Like the characters and the development of the characters to me weren't really the problem in this movie. There's only one problem I had with the way characters were structured in this, and it was really between Mark Kerr and Dawn Staples, Emily Blunt's character, because I get their relationship is supposed to be
what
toxic.
They're trying to do.
I get that's the point of it, but it was like a little too hot and cold certain scenes.
And it just happened.
Yeah, like there's a scene where they get into like this huge fight.
This is the dinner before the dinner party.
Yes, and I'm not gonna say what happens. There's a scene. It's like very a very heavy scene, actually. It's a very heavy scene.
You know what? It was a
And the
little lead
next
up to
time
it
you
though.
see them together, they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Mark?" I'm like, "What?" Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, we kind of have to address what the fuck I just looked at. Like, y'all can't. That was too heavy for the next time we see
Yeah.
those characters together for it to be kumbaya.
See,
That.
I gotta disagree with you with that. I mean, not that scene, but as far
Mhm,
as there is a story or the character development, even
mhm.
because we don't see the characters develop; they just developed. Like I said, even his whole going to rehab thing,
Yeah, I
he
see
he
what you're
he
saying.
he gets out of the hospital and immediately throws all his drugs away,
Yeah,
goes to rehab. Then they don't show him for 2-3 minutes. His best friend has a fight. They come back to him coming out of rehab, and he just sober living. Don still drinks and does whatever she does. So that's going on, and so there's a I don't want to say there's character development, but it's propelling that story
yeah,
because
yeah.
again he's an addict, so in recovery. So when you have somebody that's actively drinking around you, coming in drunk, smelling like alcohol,
Mhm.
that's not good for them.
Yeah,
But again, you don't see his progression in it. You know, the nigga,
yeah,
you would think this nigga had been uh 2-3 years in the program the way he's acting, but
yeah,
we just don't see it.
yeah.
And
You don't see a lot of that development and that transition for him, or really a lot of these characters. Honestly, that's a good point.
when you look at and I think like you said, leading up to that fight that they had, hit the first fight, the fight that he lost, when Don comes in the room, Mark Coleman like looks at him like, why is she here?
Yeah,
And then leaves out. And
yeah.
up until this point, we don't really know anything about her, really, except she lives with him.
Yeah,
They're
they don't really
together.
show you her personality until deeper in the film, and boy,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, if I'm the real Dawn Staples, I
I'll
gotta
be
talk to
pissed.
the screen
Dog.
me and the screenwriter of this movie gotta talk because they made
Nigga,
her look
terrible.
crazy.
I seen
They
it. I
made
was
her
seeing
look
her,
so
bro.
crazy.
I'm like, she kind of a piece of shit, bro.
I'm looking like midway through the movie, I'm thinking because at first, like I said, when this movie was in the first act, and I thought it was gonna focus on Mark's drug addiction, I thought a big part of it was gonna be the toll that takes on Emily Blunt's character and her trying to stay and deal with all his bullshit, and eventually she was just gonna break and leave. I thought he was gonna be the problem.
Do you remember that scene?
And the scene where she tried to leave.
No, before that, nigga, before he literally like, jumping back into the lack of story progression, there's a scene where we see him go into his room, find some needles, go into the bathroom, shoot up his opioids. We don't know what it is, we just know it's opioids. Shoot up his stuff, and then that's it. But then later you see her, she's, I guess she goes into the bathroom and finds it. And she's like,
Mhm,
you're not even trying to hide this. And again, this is after his fight.
mhm.
You're not even trying to hide it from me anymore. You're acting like this, you're acting like that. And to your point, I'm thinking it's about to be about
Yeah,
his drug use. Then literally the next scene, it goes to Mark Coleman's house and he's with his family and he gets a call from Don. This nigga in
yep. When he
OD.
OD, yep.
And this leads to the hospital scene.
Mhm.
So like that I don't think they know what they wanted the story to be about overall.
They didn't. It jumped around way too much, honestly. And it when it finally got to Dawn, like when her character started getting a little bit more focus,
Mm.
you really started to see some of the worst parts of her personality.
Dog,
Like
only
they
the
did
worst
not
parts.
only the worst part. That's why I was like, if I'm the real Don Staples, I got me and the screenwriter of
Yeah,
this movie got to have a talk because like
somebody got to
you
square
made
up
me
with
look
him.
like they made her look like a complete piece of shit at
They
for the
did.
whole the middle of I'll say the beginning, the middle part of the second act through the third act, they made her look crazy. Like she's yelling at Mark all the time when he's clearly like she will find moments while he's down and find ways to make him more pissed off. And it's like consistent. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you just lost your fight? Let me find a way to make your day worse. Oh, you're stressed out 'cause you're about to have a big fight? Let me find a way to fuck up your headspace.
And
Oh,
again, this could have been how it happened.
yeah.
We don't know. But like you said, it feels like they took some
They took some
artistic
artistic
liberty
liberties. I'm like,
because
bro. She
Even with
couldn't have been
Mark
a piece of
Kerr,
shit all the time like this. It's just no way.
even with Mark Kerr, bro. And I know it, like you said, they making him. This man's still alive,
Mhm.
so he had some input in the movie. I know he did because at the end of the movie, they actually have a scene where, which that shit was so wild and weird and just he's at the dog. This nigga's at the grocery store shopping. It's the real Mark Kerr.
Yep.
He throws his groceries in the back of his truck, pulls out, or before he gets in the car, he goes, "I'll see you guys later," like to us, to the
Yeah.
audience, and
Yep.
pulls off. And I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck was that?"
That
But
was so jarring. Like, I was like, "What the fuck?" And it was like there was no, like there was, like, kind of a transition, but not really. It just
it was
kinda cut to him.
yeah. So and it's weird, and that's what I mean with the artistic liberties with him being a part of it. The Rock being a producer,
Mhm.
and sometimes producers only give money,
Mm.
but sometimes producers got a lot of fucking input because they are giving money. So
Yeah, or they're the star of the movie,
or
you
or the
know?
star of the movie. And we do have that a lot now. So it's not just the rock thing. You have
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
a
about to say 'cause
lot of
Tom
that
Cruise
now where
produces all the Mission Impossible
yep,
movies, so this is not an unheard of concept.
Sylvester Stallone when he's doing fucking the Rocky movies, he was fucking
Mm.
even Michael B. Jordan. He's producing those Creed movies now.
I think he does have a producer's credit on Creed, you're right.
So it's kind of a business standard at this point. Once you're
Mhm.
that big of a star, you can do that.
That you can get a producer credit,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think they took a lot of liberties with that because even with his drug use, like I said, his drug use to the audience doesn't look bad at all. I mean, yes, the nigga shooting up with needles and shit, and
Yeah.
we don't know what he's doing, but he's doing opioids, which I thought that was part of the problem. Maybe tell us what he's hooked on,
Mhm.
but you see him use it, and then next scene he's fucking ODing, and they don't even
Yeah.
say he OD'd. They say he wouldn't wake up,
They said he wouldn't wake up. Yeah,
and then
they
the
don't really show
hospital
the
couldn't wake him up.
transition, like, they don't really, like out to your point, because I feel like that's a storyline they could have spent a little bit more time with.
Way more.
You don't really see, like, the progression from him starting to use opioids to when he becomes, like, severely
Right.
addicted and then ODs. He just kinda jumps from, "Hey, look, y'all, he's doing this," to,
Mhm.
"Oh, shit, he's ODing." Like, and the time lapse between those events isn't really enough to kinda give you an idea of how bad it's getting. It just kinda goes from, "Look, obviously, this is gonna be something you're concerned about," to, like, "Alright, now we here, and he's in the hospital." It doesn't really, like, take its time to kinda flesh that story out, which is surprising because this movie's already kind of a slow burn. It's not like the pacing in this movie is just moving a mile a minute. Like, this movie has some lower moments, it has some slower pacing moments in the movie where I feel like it would have made sense to flesh out that story a little bit more. Because honestly, this movie's 2 hours. You had enough
So
time to add
I
more
want to say
into that storyline to me.
I didn't have a problem with the pacing in this movie. I don't think it was slow or fast. I think it was very consistent.
Yeah. Well, I don't
But
have a problem with the pacing. I'm just saying it's a slower paced
yeah,
movie.
it
Yeah.
wasn't fast paced to where they couldn't do it. And again, to your point, that's what kind of makes it terrible that they couldn't because it's a consistent pacing the entire time, and then it's a switch.
Mhm.
And so they're doing it, going, new story.
Yep.
Going,
Literally.
new story. So like, and like I said, it doesn't speed up or slow down. I thought this movie had some of the best pacing that we've seen this year, to be honest with you. Like I
That's a
said,
take. It's
it
another
it
take.
is because I've said multiple times. I think I said in Sinners, I think I said that it had some that I think Sinners had some highs and lows to me, where it felt slow at parts and then it would ramp up.
Sinners to me had the best pacing
I
of the year,
don't rem
actually.
I don't remember though. I
Yeah.
said it about some movie, and then all the other movies, it felt like they were either trying to run through it or highest to lowest. That shit felt
You
like
hate this shit.
the highest. Remember, I told you what I was doing in highest to lowest, nigga. I'm on my phone in the fucking movies, dog. I don't even do that. I might take my shit out, throw it under my shirt,
You
looking for
said you was
actors.
just keep
Nigga, I'm in
feet
that
kicked
bitch
up on
like
the chair in front of you, just scrolling, huh?
I'm making phone calls to niggas. Hey dog, what you
I ain't
doing
know, just
Friday,
watching this
bro?
bullshit that I paid to go see.
No, hey, oh no, they ain't mad about this shit. They on the phone too.
Ain't mad about this shit. They on the phone too.
No, but no, yeah, I thought it had some good pacing. It's just to what? If it was about his drug abuse, the whole movie, cool. If it was about his willingness to win and look or not lose, cool. If it was about his relationship with Dawn, cool. Even if it's a relationship with his friends, because there are some highs and lows with his friends that we don't fucking see. Like I said, I don't know if I said it, but when Don showed up to that first fight, he was acting weird as fuck. He was. No reason why.
He
Mark
very
Coleman
distant, yeah.
was like, then later in the film, she's like, yo, this person called you and this person called you, which two people calling you was crazy that you all in your feelings. but,
Once again, they made her look crazy. They
but
made her look so nuts. Like
but when she,
that shit was nuts. That shit was blowing my mind, bro. It was like scene
dog,
after scene after scene. I'm like, bro, I don't know nothing about Dawn Staples. I know nothing about her. So I have nothing to base this on.
mhm,
But I'm just like, it's
it
no
feels, yeah.
way. This feels OD. Like
And
it's
it,
no way she was really crashing out on him because he got 2 phone calls from people saying, hey, you have a really big fight. Maybe you should leave the girl at home so you can focus. And she
and,
just lost it.
and
I'm
it's
like,
possible. It's
and then it's
possible
like,
that she was, but this shit feels like they OD.
yeah. And then it's like, if that's the case, you acting like this is probably why they telling him to leave your ass
Yeah.
at home because you just don't have any emotional stability and he needs to focus.
But even before that, like I said, they try to set her up to like she's the problem, because I don't know if you remember when he was training
Mhm.
and she pulled up.
Yeah. Oh, and the trainer was like, looking like side eyeing her, like, why she
Yeah,
here?
like immediately, bro. Like
Yeah.
he was talking to her for like he was talking to her between a round.
Yeah.
Not even 2 minutes, dog. And that nigga like, yo,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah. The trainer was like, hey, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it.
So it was just wild. And I'm not even gonna say it again. She could have been like that. We don't know.
Yeah.
But this
For all
shit
we know,
felt,
the real John Staples could be crazy, but I low key want to do some research because I know there's a documentary about this. I want to just see some parts of the documentary and I
yeah,
really hope the real Dawn is
was in
interviewed.
it. Matter of fact,
I need her to be able to state her case
because
because
that shit was
they
insane.
made her look so nuts in this
Um,
movie, and
and
I could like I was in disbelief. I was
yeah.
like, bro, it's no way she was this crazy to him. It's just no way.
Another issue that I had, like we said before, this movie takes place between 97 and 2000. If this was about the blow up of the UFC, those 3 years probably would have been cool.
Mhm.
But this is about one person, supposed to be about one person. And I don't know if his fighting career started in 97 or 96, but we do know that he was a college wrestler, Division 1. Outside that, we ain't see this nigga win nothing before that. Honestly, I think we seen him win a couple fights at the beginning of the movie
Yeah,
when he
they
was in
didn't like
another,
establish his career before UFC
right.
and like his accolades or anything like that.
But he didn't retire to fucking 2009.
Yeah.
And we got 3 years and almost every major fight we seen with the nigga, he lost.
Yeah, it was
So
that's really because overall I think this movie's decent. I don't think it's terrible. I
yeah,
don't think it's
it's
that
not
great
terrible, it's
either.
not
It's
bad,
just
it's just
kind of
not
in.
good.
Yeah, it's very mid to me. And for this, one of my biggest critiques of this movie overall is this aside from the fact that the story cut all over the place, is it felt like this movie was trying to establish Mark Kerr as one of the pioneers
Mhm.
of UFC and MMA, which I get in real life he is, but I don't think this movie did a good job of conveying that or
He looked
showing
like
that
the
to the
pioneer
audience.
fucking Pride 7 because
Yeah, like
I
this
think we
movie doesn't
seen,
really show in what way he
yeah.
revolutionized the sport or made UFC bigger. This
I
movie
think
doesn't
we
really
seen him
show that.
do one UFC fight, and I'm looking at his record because
Maybe like a couple
I'm looking
UFC
at
fights and that's it.
I'm looking for I was looking for the documentary, and his mixed martial arts record is 27 fights, 15 wins, 4 by knockout, 7 by submission, 2 by decision, 2 disqualifications, 11 losses, 6 by knockout, 3 by submission, 2 by decision, no contest. We did not see that many fights. We didn't see close to that many fights. And
Yeah,
there's just so many things that could have made this such a more compelling story.
I agree.
And I think that's what it was. I think people were so ready. I think if this would have been some average or not, I don't want to say average actor. A lot of A24 picked some pretty good fucking actors for their movies.
Yeah.
But I say a lesser known actor that maybe I wouldn't have been as disappointed, because when you put The Rock in this role, and he's playing a serious role which he doesn't usually play. I'm expecting the person that's directing him, the person that's writing this fucking movie, I'm expecting them to give fucking, we're going to win an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it feels like this was a TV series, and then they was just like, "No, we're not gonna do that. Well, let's just throw all this shit together." Because the s- the story is bad because there's a bunch of different stories going on at the same time. One of these stories by themselves would have been great, would have been amazing. It's a biography for a man that's still alive,
Mhm.
and it's only fucking takes place for during 3 years. Imagine fucking watching Ray. and, and they
It
like,
only covered 3 years of his life.
yeah, and they don't even like what the fuck. You don't see his struggles, or you see one struggle. You see his first marriage. You
You
see
see a
him
struggle and then it's
on
resolved
tour.
3 scenes later.
Like that's wild. That's not how you do a fucking biography, man. It's
Yeah,
not.
there's a lot more, I think, to this story that they definitely could have added and fleshed out a little bit more, I think. I think one of the things that you look at with this is the Rock and his performance is kind of what draws you in, because I think that
Mhm.
his performance, his chemistry with Emily Blunt, because I think their scenes together are
No,
very good. Their scene his The Rock and Emily Blunt scenes together, I think, are some of the best things that Smashing Machine has to offer. They just make Emily Blunt's character look crazy as hell, but it's still high
yeah.
quality acting and the scenes are very well done. It's just the way they portrayed her was nuts. And I think for a first time actor, um, I'm blanking on his name right now, Ryan
Ryan
Bader, who
Rader.
played Mark Coleman, like for a first time actor, he did a great job. So there's a lot in this movie that is high quality that's going for it, right?
I
It's
think
just
the
that there's other things detracting from that that kind of make it hard for me to say that this was something really good or something I would revisit. It's just kind of mid to
I
me.
think Baz, I think he's an actual trainer as well.
That makes sense.
I
That
think
makes
he's
sense.
that because that's his real name as well.
Yeah.
I think he's an actual trainer. There, like I said, neither one of us is like huge in UFC. If my nephew had went to go watch this movie, that nigga would be like, "Yeah, that's so and so. He a UFC fighter. That's a UFC fighter. That's a UFC fighter." We just don't know him to say that shit. If this was a movie
Yeah.
about wrestling, I could have been in that bitch like,
Yeah, he
yeah.
would have been, "Hey, is that Ultimate Warrior in the back?" Say no.
You know, I was going somewhere and I was
Speaking of Ultimate Warrior, we are getting that biopic, so hopefully
are
that
we?
one's better.
Okay.
From what I heard, I think we are getting a Ultimate Warrior biopic, if I'm not mistaken. I did see that report.
Okay.
Um, and honestly, for I guess my closing remarks on this one, I think this movie was kind of in that box with him, not as bad as him. This is
Okay.
an
All right.
infinitely
All
better
right.
movie than him.
Okay.
I'm putting that in that box of movies we had a lot of hype for, and movies that were drawing in an audience that was very excited to see what this had to offer, that didn't really live up to what we thought it was going to be. And I think that's kind of the label I put on him. Him is just an infinitely worse movie than this. This is 10 times better than him. But this is a movie that when you put The Rock in a dramatic role like this, a role in an A24 movie in October, like everything about this movie screams we're trying
We're in the
to go
last
for
quarter.
Oscar contingent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oscar movies usually come out in the fall. They're usually indie art house type dramas and they have strong performances. This is an A24 movie released in October with The Rock playing a serious dramatic role. So it was very clear what they were trying to angle this movie to be. But I can say, in that sense, it's not that strong of a movie to garner any real Oscar contention. The Rock's performance is good. I liked it. It was for The Rock, it was a really good performance,
Yeah, 100%.
but it's not something that you would consider to be top tier or like real Oscar worthy in any way, at least not to me. So, like, to me, and on both those fronts, this movie didn't necessarily meet the expectations that I think it had for itself or that audiences had coming in. I'm gonna give this one a 6.5. Strictly
Um,
for it, strictly for Emily Blunt and the Rock scenes. I thought those were I actually was locked in on those scenes, so
yeah.
I'll give it I'll give it an
Um,
extra 0.5 for that.
One thing I didn't do this time, which I usually do, shout out to black women in the films, beautiful black queens. Did not catch her name. I was looking through the IMDb page, still couldn't find her. The harpist who sung the national anthem before the Pride event. So if you know her name, shout her out, let us know. So I can follow her on Instagram, slide in the DMs. Anyways, the acting, the scenes between, I'm gonna say everybody, honestly. I thought The Rock did a great job. I think The Rock did a good job.
Mhm.
For The Rock, he did a great job. Fuck it. Because you don't usually see The Rock in something like this. Again, The Rock is a fucking just a massive human being though. So it'd be weird seeing him in some other more serious roles, I think. But his relationship with I think his friends, his relationship with Emily Blunt, the dialogue was there most I'll give it the dialogue was there most of the time. My gripes it's too many stories going on. None of them were fully fleshed out. None of them were fully completed. I already said this before. It's a biography and it takes place during 3 years. If this had been a movie about the founding, the first couple years of UFC, it would have been great. Actually, no, it wouldn't. It would have been. It would have made more sense though. But you're focusing on one man. The movie's named after his moniker, the Smashing Machine,
Mhm.
and you really don't see this nigga smash really much. Like I said, I think the first couple fights we see is him in Brazil, I think it was Brazil, and he fights 6 or 7 people back to back. He wins the championship, and then after that, he loses almost every fight. I think we see him win maybe
We
one or
win
two
like
more
he
fights
wins like
after
1
that.
or 2 in that span, but
Yeah,
it's not the dominance you saw at the start of the
yeah.
movie for sure.
It's not the dominance that you even think the story is about. I mean, we don't know what the fucking story is about. You think it's gonna be about his life and his struggles when you watch the trailer, and then you watch the movie, and you're like, okay, it's gonna be about drug use when you watch the movie. It's not. It's gonna be
Mhm.
about him not losing or not wanting to lose. It's not. It's gonna be about his relationship. It's fucking not. The movie,
It's about to be all of those things at the same time.
yeah, and none of those things, you
And
know.
none of those things at the same time.
And then the movie just kind of ends.
Yeah.
So I think I am shitting on it more than I think I'm shitting on it more than I enjoyed it, but I do think the performances in this movie was good. Like I said, we said the same thing. We said the movie was shit, but Marlon Wayans and can't remember the other Tyreek something.
Tyreek Withers, I believe. Yeah.
They were really the only two people that you've seen, so they had good dialogue with each other and they acted great. But in this movie, there's a cast of people that you actually see,
Mhm.
and I think even the supporting characters, or not supporting characters, because what would you call the head of Prod 7? Because he had like 2 scenes. I wouldn't say he was a
I wouldn't
supporting
say he
actor,
was a supporting. I
or
mean, I guess supporting character, I guess, but I
but
don't know what else to call him, but definitely a background
yeah,
character for
so
sure.
so even the background characters, I think when they had dialogue, it was good. When he goes up to this owner manager and he's speaking with him, he's like listening. Again, I don't know if he speaks his English is broken and Mark doesn't know Japanese. And then he just turns around and he's talking to his team, and you can kind of see what's going on. He like, yo,
Yeah.
what the fuck this nigga talking about?
Yeah. Like, "Oh, what he talking about, bro? Imma do what I wanna do."
Yeah. So it's a lot happening and nothing happening at the same time. But I think every scene that we seen was good.
Mhm.
It's just not good together
Yeah.
because they just threw shit in there. You went a lot higher than me.
Really? Okay.
Not really. I'm gonna give it a 6. I wanted to
Yeah, I was
give it
about
a
to say
I
it's
was
in
gonna
that range.
I was gonna give it a 5, but a five feel like I'm really trying to shit on it. But
Yeah, 5's
like I said,
kinda low for this.
it,
This isn't a bad movie.
yeah, it's
5
not
is
a bad
entering bad
movie.
movie territory.
It's
This
not a
isn't
bad
bad.
movie. It's
It's
just not a
just
good movie.
yeah, it's
Like
just a little sloppy at
it's a
points.
very okay movie.
Yeah.
It's probably something that they should have just threw on fucking Netflix
Yeah.
and just
It's
let us have it.
yeah. I'll amend what I said. I don't even gonna say sloppy at points. It just doesn't flow. It just
Yeah.
doesn't really flow that well. And I did misspeak. We are getting a wrestling biopic. It's on Macho Man Randy Savage, not Ultimate
Oh,
Warrior.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Anywho,
are.
and
I knew we were getting a WWE biopic by somebody.
And I'm not even one to I enjoy going to the movies. I enjoy sitting in the theater and watching a movie. That's probably the only time I'm really not doing anything else but
Mhm.
watching the screen. So for me to say they should have just threw it on fucking Netflix, that's saying a lot. Now,
Yeah.
highest to lowest. They probably should have
Bro,
put that shit on fucking
bro,
CW 50. Like,
bro.
don't even
Do you need a rant episode, my
don't
nigga?
don't even put that shit on streaming, bro.
Do you need a rant
Hey,
episode, bro? Do
put
you
the
need to get this off your chest?
put that bitch on the DVD and put it in bargain bins.
Like, bro, it's some movies I hate. You hate this movie.
That's one I hate. Because you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing else about it today because we
Yeah,
about to.
don't even
And
dignify it with a response.
I don't want to end
You constantly
us
bringing
talking
it up
about
is
this.
keeping it alive.
I can't help it. Like every time we talk about something, I'm just, how do you have two fucking great actors, a great director, and you put shit out there like that?
like
But
that. That's how they do it. Just like that.
The Rock's performance was good outside of his ability to cry. I thought that shit was fucking hilarious, dog.
I didn't hate it, but I do. Now hearing you describe it, I'm like, that shit was kind of.
They could have just not did it.
Yeah,
That
shit was kind of OD.
Because
That shit was kind of OD.
it looked like even let's say the rest of the movie was amazing. Like the story, it had one fleshed out story. We seen it all the way through, and then we seen this nigga cry them 2 times. I would have been pissed because either get this nigga an acting coach that's gonna help him learn how to help him cry. But when you're covering his face, like
it was very OD.
Yeah,
like it was like complete, like it's literally like this, y'all. Like it was complete like face burial with the like literally like that. I'm like, come on, bro.
Mark Coleman goes, there, buddy. There, buddy. Like, oh shit. like that. I feel like that's how you comfort a motherfucker you don't want to comfort.
Yeah, like it's gonna be all right, man.
They don't tell us where Mark Coleman lives, but he flew from wherever he lived to Arizona where Mark Kerr was because his best friend almost died. So when you see a nigga, all right, bud.
It was like, all right, come on, bro. Like, let's get this moving.
So I'm gonna stick with my I'm gonna stick with my 6. I think it's 6. I think
that's fair.
I think 6.5 is too close to 7. So
that's fair. I wasn't that comfortable going up to 0.5 either, but the performances I think are worth highlighting in this. I do think they did a good job with that. So I don't know what the box office numbers are on this right now. I do believe it did flop opening weekend. I did see a report for that, but I don't know the exact numbers for it. So I would ask if y'all have seen The Smashing Machine, but similar to what we reviewed last week, I imagine the answer is no.
Before we do this, I want to shout out fucking Demon Slayer to Infinity Castle. They had a $20 million budget. Yeah. They cleared $650 million.
Wow.
They beat out him.
Wow.
they
not saying much, but okay.
Right. They beat out this shit, and it's a bunch of other movies this year.
They have to have beat out one battle after another too. So
I think they did. It's so many. It's so many movies that they beat out. This is an anime, you know. It's becoming.
That's what I'm saying. It's
becoming more mainstream, but I did not think it was that mainstream.
Yeah, 6. They're rivaling like Marvel movies with those kind of box office returns. So that's fire. I gotta give them props for that one. That's a good shout out. So let us know if you guys have seen Smashing Machine. Like I said, I imagine the answer is no, and if it's yes, it's probably like 3 of you. If so, what did you think? We're kind of on the side of it's kind of mid, but maybe there's some people out there who might resonate with this a little bit better. Maybe you're a big Rock fan, maybe you're a big UFC person. I don't know. Maybe this movie has to be amazing out there to somebody. Like I said, leave some comments below. We appreciate all the discourse. That's the best part about being a movie fan.
Try to prove us wrong.
Try to. If you think you can argue against us and our point, please do. We welcome it. Actually, we want you to.
I'm wrong about some shit, but you know what?
He's wrong about a lot. Actually,
I'm not wrong about Revenge of the Sith being one of the best Star Wars movie.
Always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support on that note. And until next time, this is The Real Junkies. Please attack him in the comments for that tape.
You fucked me up.